Hi, my name is Mollie Anderson, and I am an instructor in the Department of Psychology at the University of Memphis. I'm here to talk to you today about a learning platform called Achieve. Achieve has recently made it to psychology, and over the last 2 semesters, I've been serving as a beta tester for Macmillan Learning. And I wanted to share with you today my very favorite aspect of Achieve, and that is the goal setting and reflection exercises. I'm going to go ahead and share my PowerPoint with you. And while I'm doing that, there's a few things that I want you to keep in mind as I am presenting today and for you to know about Achieve in general. For one thing, if you decide that you want to assign the goal setting and reflection exercises, you really, I think, need to read through them. You're going to get some really valuable information from your students, whether it's their problems that they may be facing, the things that they want to learn, what their goals are in the class, and being able to respond to student comments is such a powerful tool in building community in your class. So I really encourage you that if you assign them, that you try to take an effort and time to read through definitely the qualitative responses. Another thing I want to tell you about Achieve is I just encourage you to play around with it. Okay, I know technology sometimes can be frightening for me, especially when I'm shifting to a new platform that I don't already know. And I promise you that you cannot break Achieve. If you could, I would have done it. So I encourage you just to take a deep dive into Achieve, play with it, play around, and see what's new, what's fun. Be creative, curious, and really try to figure out who are these students that I have in my class. The next thing I want to let you know is even if you never read any of the responses, that by assigning these goal setting and reflection exercises, that you are going to plant a seed and it's going to grow. Just assigning them, it's going to prompt your students to think, well, I really need to think more actively about what I'm learning and how I'm learning. And it's going to facilitate metacognition that in itself is valuable. The questions themselves will help prime your students to think about all the strategies that they're using or could be using to help them in their learning adventure. It can help also increase the number of options they think they have. They may learn about new types of strategies like concept maps that they might not know about. And I will let you know that taking the time and reviewing the information that your students provide in these surveys is absolutely priceless. You can truly connect with your students and you can address their needs more readily, and either by sending individual emails to students, a class email, maybe putting an announcement on your learning management system, calling in campus partners to help them share information about help that's available on campus. Really, there's no limits to the resources you can provide them. And the goal setting and reflection exercises help you identify what resources they need most. So let's go ahead and get started on this presentation for today. So first I thought about when I was asked to do this was, what would I want to know as an Achieve novice or Achieve virgin? What would I want to know about Achieve? And so I'm going to show you a quick roadmap that we're going to be going over today. One, why use Achieve? Right? I know that many of you came from Launchpad, and if you were like me, you were already a diehard fan of Launchpad, and you're like, I don't want to switch. Right? Well, I totally get it. And I want to tell you about some things that you might like about the new Achieve platform that have definitely convinced me to stay the Achieve route. So I also want to take you on a tour of Achieve. I'm going to show you one of the most valuable tools embedded within Achieve, which is the intro survey. It's one of the goal setting and reflection surveys. We're going to spend a lot of time on the intro survey because to me, it really helps set a wonderful tone for the class and help students start thinking about how they're going to be successful in the class and what strategies they're going to use to learn. So I'm going to show you that intro survey through the student preview so you can see what it looks like from the student's perspective as they take that survey. I'm also going to review the goal setting and reflection insights. The insights are a great summary of your student data. It's kind of like having an embedded statistician in your class that has mad graphing skills. And so it's a great way for you to take a quick glance and see how your students are doing, what strategies they are or aren't using. And so the insights are a really fabulous tool embedded within Achieve. We are also going to meet one student who says that they have low confidence in their ability to do well in the class. And I'm going to show you how you can dig deep and zoom into one student and look and read through their responses. Then I'm also going to show you how we at the University of Memphis use the students' qualitative responses. We do a thematic analysis of our open-ended questions, and we help to use we use that information to help us build emails to the class to address class examples. So students may tell us things that we are like, wow, we want to really use that as a source of a class example. Also, sometimes students as a whole will be having the similar challenges, and we can address those through an email. Or maybe it's just one student who is having a problem with one aspect of the class, and you are able to identify that and then invite them to office hours. Next, I'm going to show you the checkpoint survey 1, and I'm going to show you the insights for that survey, because one of the great things about this goal setting and reflection surveys is they help you track the students across time in the class. And so I'm going to show you how some of the questions are similar from the intro survey to the checkpoint survey, and you can see those strategies that they told you they were going to use in the intro survey, they may or may not have used by the time that they get to the checkpoint survey 1. The first checkpoint survey, Macmillan encourages you to use once you've had like an exam in the class or a big paper that's due, so students can reflect on their process of how they prepared for and how they did on that first assignment or paper or exam. Next, I'm going to show you the student feedback. So it's one thing for me to tell you, wow, I really love Achieve because of these goal setting and reflection surveys. And it's another thing for students to tell you that they really are enjoying Achieve. So I'm going to share that data with you. So why use Achieve? Well, it really helps your students. It helps them to become engaged in the class and to learn to adapt their problem-solving behaviors across tasks, and my students tell me also across disciplines. So this is helping them not just in this class, but in the other classes that they're taking. It also helps to support self-regulated learning and metacognition. So the goal setting and reflection surveys, the students are able to set goals for themselves, and they're able to reflect on their learning throughout the semester. For you, you'll be able to gain insights into the strategies that students are using, how they think the semester is going. You know, sometimes I think the semester is going great until I read the student comments and I go, oh, wow, okay, we need to shift something a little bit so the students can have a better learning experience. And also the insights are going to help you learn how to target your interventions and provide support to your students based on their expressed needs. I just want to tell you, I think that these goal setting and reflection surveys are absolutely priceless. I won't go back. I'll never leave. So I'm going to take you on that quick tour of Achieve. I would love it to be a really nice meandering train ride and us all have an opportunity to get to meet each other and learn a lot about the product as a whole, but it's probably going to feel more like a bullet train. I'm going to be introducing you to a lot of different components of Achieve, but I hope this gives you a nice little taste. So I am going to hop off of the PowerPoint for a little while, and we're going to head on over to Achieve. So let me stop sharing, and I'm going to reshare my screen. and pull up Achieve. So this is what Achieve looks like. When you log in, you notice the Macmillan little squiggly lines in the red. That's where all your courses that you currently have in Achieve will be posted. Then there's the My Course tab. I love that in Achieve, the left-hand side is where the toolbar resides, which is what we're used to for a lot of other technology. So I love that about Achieve. So My Course, for the purpose of today's time together, I'm going to show you a class that I taught in the fall because it has data already in the intro as well as the checkpoint survey number 1. So this is my fall class, and I'll be taking you through the tour in that class. There's a grade book, and it's a great grade book, just like many others that you probably have used. You're able to change your view of the grade book. I'm not going to show you the grade book because it has student identifiable data in there. So I'm going to protect their privacy. And the reports is where we're going to spend a lot of our time today. That's where you find the insights, as well as full reports. And we'll spend a lot of time in that. Then there's also the ebook. Lots of my students are using the audio feature in the ebook. You can download the whole ebook, and they're really enjoying using the audio feature. Then there's a great list of the students in the class with their email address. So if you identify somebody who may need a little intervention or a little help, that you can easily email them from that class list. Okay, so where are we heading? I told you that we are going to look at the intro survey and particularly the student view. But before we do that, let me just tell you something. If you're like me and you're a little bit of a technology phobe and you're worried about whether your students are going to be able to learn Achieve as easily as they did Launchpad, I'll tell you that the orientation assignment that's here at the bottom of the page right here is one of the activities that you can assign and Achieve, and it asks student questions that help them orient to the Achieve platform. It's absolutely fabulous. It teaches them through questions about the ebook, about how to use the ebook, how to use the notebook function that allows them to highlight the ebook and write notes and then be able to search for their highlights and their notes. It also teaches them about the adaptive quizzing, the learning curves and how they work, and how you don't lose any points for going to the ebook and reading to find the question. And if you get a question wrong, it doesn't take away points. It just doesn't give you any points. And that if you ask for a hint, that you'll earn a little fewer points, but you'll still gain some points. And so the questions are fabulous. It really helps them orient. I've had far fewer questions from students about onboarding to Achieve than I did for Launchpad. So I just want to give you that heads up. So let's head into the intro survey. And like I said, I want to show you this student preview so you can see what it looks like from a student view. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide this little column over here. So it gives the students a great introduction to the goal setting and reflection surveys. And it tells them that these surveys are aimed at trying to help them clarify their goals for the class, help them reflect on their progress across the class, and to be able to identify their strengths and their areas of growth as a student. It tells them that being intentional about their goals for the semester can help them learn the material much better. And that research has shown that having a goal that's focused on self-improvement and understanding helps to lead to deeper learning than focusing on just how other people did compared to me or trying to do better than everyone else. So I love that. This is where the questions start. The first question asks, what are you hoping to learn in this class? Are there any skills that you're hoping to walk away with? So it really helps them start to have some personal ownership into thinking, wow, what is it I want to learn from this psychology class? Then it asks them what grade they're hoping to achieve in the class, what grade they'd be okay with in the class. On a scale of 1 to 5, how confident are they that they can receive their goal grade? That's important, right? And what makes them confident or doubtful of their ability to do well in the class? This is one of those really important qualitative data points that I'll show you how we address in a little bit. Now it asks them to estimate the amount of time that they're going to spend studying and completing assignments. And they're asked to think through that, which I think is really helpful. Then it asks how they're going to spend their time according to what they're going to do with that time. So it takes a look at 4 different categories of learning strategies that come from research and learning science. And they read over the options and they take a few minutes to reflect on which of these strategies they've ever used before, and then think about which ones they might like to use in this class. So the first category is spacing it out. Learning happens over time and it doesn't happen all at once. And so it helps them understand that they need to space their studying, right? Distributed practice versus mass practice. And so students read through the different options and figure out what strategies that they would want to use to space out their studying. And they can choose as many strategies as they like, whether it's starting assignments early, practicing problems daily, setting reminders, or putting due dates into their calendar. They get to choose what strategies they'd like to use. Then the next one is category 2 is strategies that they can use to challenge themselves. We don't always know what we don't know, right? And so it talks to them about how simply rereading information doesn't help them learn as well as many other strategies. Like when they explain new concepts to a friend or when they test themselves over that content, kind of like that adaptive quizzing and learning curve, or when they try to connect related concepts. And so they're allowed to choose as many strategies that they like to use to help challenge themselves throughout the semester. So they can choose any of these, from creating flashcards to talking with a friend or creating concept maps. Next, there's category 3 that talks about getting outside help. We learn a lot more when we interact with and get help from other people. And so it tells them, that it can be really important and can help you learn information more deeply when you're trying to figure it out with a friend. And so they can choose any of the strategies for getting outside help, from coming to office hours to joining a group or visiting the help center on campus. Then last strategy area is category 4 is environment and motivation. And it's really encouraging them to try to get the most out of the time that they spend studying. We know that the environment where we study is really important, and these questions help them understand how important that is and how it can impact their ability to remember that information at a later time. So there's strategies here that they can choose from getting enough sleep every night, to designating a study area that's distraction-free, for setting clear goals for each study session so they know what they are going to focus on, how long they expect to do that, and so that it helps them stay on task. So the students review these strategies and they choose the one that fit for them. Then it asks some questions, the intro survey, on the background, students' background, like what year are they in school? What plans or intended career are they thinking about having? Are they considering? What is their current primary declared or intended major, if they know that yet? And why are you taking this class? Are you taking it because you're interested in psychology, or just because it's a GED? General education requirement, not GED. If you've taken this class before, then where did you take it? A lot of students have taken psychology in high school or took it at another institution, and it's great to know that information, or if they're repeating it at your institution. Then also, this question I think is one of the most valuable questions as a professor. It says, are there any outside obligations or obstacles that you'd like your instructor to know about? And this has been a really, really helpful question for us to really get to know our students and to be able to address problems that they're having or resource issues that they're having from the very beginning of class. Then last, the intro survey says, how strongly do you agree with the following statement? This survey gave me an idea for at least one strategy to try. Well, I'm happy to tell you that almost all my students say strongly agree. This survey gave me an idea for at least one strategy to try to help in my learning for this class. That's pretty awesome, right? So like I said, even if you don't have time to read the qualitative data in the insights that I'm going to show you in a second, make sure that you assign these, because just assigning them, the students get the opportunity to engage in metacognition and to set strategies for themselves to help them with their learning, not just in this class, but in their other classes as well. So I'm going to go back now and I'm going to take you to, as I promised, the insights. You find the insights under the reports. So you click on the reports in the left-hand column, and you'll see there's insights and reports. We're going to start by focusing on the insights for the goal setting and reflection responses and start out in the intro survey. So how confident are my students? So in this class, their confidence level ranged between 3.5 out of 5, from not confident to very confident. And then you'll see that the platform pulls some student data that shows up here in the insight card, and it pulls the longest available responses. This is helpful. Lots of times the longest ones are the meatiest, but I like to read the responses because, in fact, some of the shorter ones are really important too. And so if you wanted to view more, you could click on this view more here, and it'll show you the student's name, their confidence level that they reported, and then the reasons that they're confident or doubtful about their ability to succeed in the class. And that is really helpful. You'll notice in this little graph here that somebody put 1 as their level of confidence. Well, you can imagine as a teacher, I was like, wow, I want to address that. I want to find out who that person is and how I can support that person. So luckily, we can do that with this product. And so I'm going to share I'm going to share with you particular students' responses so that you can see the responses for that student who put 1 as their level of confidence. Sorry, the Zoom is not obeying me. So close your eyes for a second because I do not want you to see the student's name. I'm trying to, okay, perfect. Worked out great. Doesn't always, right? But, oh, excuse me, oops, but it did this time. So I'm really thankful. So let me show you now. So this is one student's responses that had the 1 level of confidence. And you can see, so this asks the student, is question 1, what are you hoping to learn? And the student said, I'm hoping to learn what's needed to be learned for this course. I want to learn more about real world situations, and that's what I'm hoping to take away for the course. Anything beneficial to me as a person, mentally and physically, I hope to take from this course. Ask what grade the student is hoping to get. The student's hoping to get an A, would be okay with a B. On a scale of 1 to 5, she's not confident. And what makes this person doubtful? It says, what makes me doubtful on my ability to do well in this class is I feel lost at times. I understand the student-to-teacher ratio is extremely high. I teach classes of 400 students. So the student's right, it is. And I feel as if my professor for the course can't actually be an assist to each student because there are lots of students. I have to adapt myself to this course. I feel like if I give myself time. Okay, so this was an opportunity for us to send an email to the student, right? Let them know, hey, we're engaged. We see you. We'd love for you to come to office hours or, to come before or after class and ask questions, and we're happy to answer them. And we have also study groups that you could join. So it also asks how much time the student expects to spend, then all the strategies they're expecting to use. You'll see that this student is indicating every strategy, right? So I'm going to call this student to my office and talk to them about what strategies they'd like to start with, right? Knowing that they don't have time to do all of them at once. This is a first-year student, not surprising, right? And wants to be a child life specialist or maybe an academic counselor. And they're taking the class because it fills a requirement. It's their first time. And then when asked if there's any obligations or obstacles that this person may face, they said, I'm a family person. I'm someone my family depends on for various reasons. I do work, I'm employed. Please, all caps, if you see me down or not my best, just check on me from time to time. Well, you know that we were checking on that student, right? And if we had not read these responses, we would never have known that this is a student that really wants their TA to check in with them, right? And so this is a conversation we could have in office hours and encourage them to reach out, and then have the TA periodically check in with the student. And so, like I said, I think the intro surveys are just so invaluable, both in getting the gestalt of the whole classes experience, but also being able to drill down and seeing individual student responses. And this student strongly agreed that this survey gave them an idea about a strategy to try. So that is really helpful, right? That the survey is not just giving us insights, but it's also getting them insights as well. So let me head back to Achieve, away from the individual student data. Oh, shoot, don't look. Ooh, I hope you didn't see that. What I want to do is show you the rest of the class data. So let me go back to that. Here we go. So we've talked about the confidence level. What goals do students have? Well, most students want to get an A or B. Some of them are okay with a C, and a tiny one person just wants to pass, right? How much time are students planning to spend outside of class? Well, 9 hours was the class median. You'll see there's 3 outliers that we're going to spend between 19 to 21 hours on the class outside of it. So these are people I might want to reach out to and let them know that's a bit much for this class only, and talk a little bit about their strategies. Then there's great examples of qualitative responses to challenges or obstacles. If you wanted to read the whole class list, you just click on View More. What are students hoping to get out of the class? So you can also, again, click on View More. You'll see that most of the students are taking it because it's a gen ed requirement. Some are because it's a degree requirement, and a few of them are interested in psychology, and that's why they're taking the class. 100% of my students in this semester were first year. 23% have been exposed to a psychology class before. And then I could click here to read more about their future plans. So I could talk about different majors and people that have different career plans within the class and tailor my concept examples to those student interests. Then you'll see here reviewing those strategies that they hope to use to space and pace their learning. One is that most students are thinking about starting assignments early, using a planner or some sort of reminder system, but very few students are thinking about practicing or reviewing their concepts daily or trying to summarize their notes in their own words. So those are things that I could suggest for students. How are students planning to study and practice their recall? Well, most of them in this class were planning on using flashcards because they probably did that in high school. And they're thinking about taking practice tests, thinking Quizlet probably, and attempting their problems without notes. But very, very few were thinking about creating concept maps. So this is something I could teach them in class, right? To use concept maps to help them summarize information in a visual way. How are students planning to get help and collaborate? Well, Most of them are hoping to collaborate with a partner. Interestingly, a lot of them said go to office hours. Huh, why am I so lonely? And then fewer said work or collaborate with a group. Then next, another strategy, how are students planning to optimize their environment and mindset? Most of them are planning on finding a distraction-free study environment, probably something they learned during the pandemic that was helpful for them. Fewer getting enough sleep daily. We do a sleep intervention to help our college students understand the importance of sleep. And then simulating the test experience is indicated by fewer students. And so helping them understand context dependent learning and helping them understand how simulating that test experience can be helpful for them, especially as they are trying to recall information. So this is a great review of the intro survey using these insight cards, our embedded statistician, to get a good idea of the gestalt of the class experience. After that first exam or first paper, you can come and look at the insights from your first checkpoint survey. You can see here that their confidence actually rose, right? Their confidence in their ability to succeed in the class rose, which is great. Most of the people are still on track in blue here, but there's about 20% of them who are off track. So I could go to view more and select and have it rearranged by the order of people who said they're off track and look and see, hey, how are people falling off track? Maybe I should contact some of them and see how we can support them and their TAs can support them in getting back on track. But I can also share ways that people who are staying on track are doing so with the rest of the class. Then it says students are spending less time on class than they expected to, which is good. That went from 9 hours a week outside of class to just 7 hours. And then it talks about what challenges students are facing the most, and 60% report content-specific challenges. So that can help me know, okay, I wonder what specific content challenges they're addressing, and I can call up to the class and have them fill out another survey with specific questions, but it's an opportunity for me to intervene here, right, in real time, which is fabulous, because if I didn't have this information, I wouldn't know to intervene. And so I love this product so much because it really allows for real-time intervention. There's a great question about how students feel that they've grown since the last survey, and these are great. The student says, I've discovered that writing my own notes rather than just using the notes provided has helped me understand concepts better. I also learned that quiet places are when I retain the most information for this class. Another student said, I've grown from the last survey by learning what works for me and staying on top of my assignments, which means checking every day at some point to make sure I've completed what I need to do. Excellent. I love this one right here. It says, how did students' expectations compare to their recent test paper grades? Well, for this class, they were spot on. Nobody received a grade that was lower than expected. Don't we wish that was always the case? So this is a graph showing from got much lower than expected to much higher than expected. So you see the students did better than they thought they'd do. And then they asked these questions in the checkpoint survey 1 about strategies again. And you can see across time how students' strategies that they're employing to succeed in the class are changing or shifting. And you can help teach them or encourage them to use ones that the class is not using. Okay. Now, where do we want to go next? Well, I've talked to you a lot about Achieve, some of my favorite things about Achieve. The last thing that I want to show you is go back to the PowerPoint because I want to show you feedback from the students. So for students' feedback on Achieve, in the beta study in the fall, there was an N of 503 students who had completed one or more goal setting and reflection exercise. And here are their responses to some questions that Macmillan asked. 80% of students said they improved as a student that semester. Wow, that's amazing. 2 out of 3 students said that the goal setting and reflection surveys were valuable use of their time. They were happy to do them because they saw them as helpful. 84% of students said that the goal setting and reflection surveys help them think about their goals and their learning habits, both inside and outside of class. And they also said, 84%, that they learned something new about how they could manage their time, their studying, or their learning this semester. One of the most exciting things to me, anecdotally, is that I've received emails from students saying how much they appreciate the goal setting and reflection surveys, that the strategies that they learn to employ in this class are helping them in their other courses. For me, that is the highest success, right? We teach learning and memory and psychology and these strategies, and they're engaging in self-reflected learning, self-guided learning, and metacognitive skills. It's helping them achieve not just in this class, but in their other classes and in their future careers as well. Last, I want you to know that the general research on Achieve is new to psychology, but the general research on Achieve is shown that for students who have done 2 or more goal setting and reflection surveys, the intro and 1 checkpoint survey, that they're seeing at Macmillan a 15% increase in assignment completion and an 8 percentile point increase in grade, right? So not just anecdotally, do students really like the goal setting and reflection exercises in these surveys, but they also are improving their grades and doing more of their assignments. I hope that you all have learned something helpful today. Your Macmillan team is looking forward to hearing from you. I know this has been quite a whirlwind. I know you probably have questions, so definitely reach out to your Macmillan team. And my name is Mollie Anderson, and you are welcome to reach out to me if you have any questions. It's mollie.b.anderson@gmail.com. And thanks so much for joining us. And thanks to the Macmillan team and Kate and Carlise for always supporting us in our work of teaching general psychology. Thanks.